Hello, 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 and welcome to my channel. I am Minister Kismet, and this is my channel. My channel is all about transcending the everyday by tuning to the divine wisdom that lives within all of us and paying attention to the everyday magic that we are and that we experience. So thank you and welcome, welcome, welcome. So this read is going to be, is this message for you? It is from the African Goddess Rising Oracle deck, and we're just gonna pull two cards and give advice based on the cards. Now this is a new deck, so I'm still learning the deck, so I will also refer to the book for our reading and give you the insight that you are meant to receive. I am a big believer in the law of attraction, so I feel like if you clicked on this video, unless someone asked you to tune into the video or forwarded it to you directly, but if it comes across your timeline or if you're scrolling through my content and happen to click on this video, then this message is for you and there's some relevance for you. But before we begin, I'm going to do some sound clearing. Bells are very important for clearing negativity, and a lot of ancient religions, a lot of temples that you visit, you will see bells hanging from the doors or bells being rung before a prayer or before, to signal different changes in either worship or ceremony or services, because bells are meant to be a negative to evil spirits or things that have a lot of negative connotation, negative energies, things of that nature. So we're going to ring some bells and we're just going to ask for advice from Spirit to come in and open a portal before my crown to provide this reading to you. Hope everyone is enjoying their day so far today. Take a deep breath in. Ashe, ashe, ashe. So we ask you, Spirit, ancient ancestors, guides, come in for those who are meant for this reading. Help me to give the right insight and give us the knowledge that we seek from this reading. So we're going to pull two cards now, once again from the African Goddess Rising Guidebook, Oracle deck by Abiola Abrams. Beautiful, beautiful deck, focusing on really indigenous goddesses from all over the world and the insight that these goddesses will have to offer. So we're going to go ahead and pull two cards, okay, and see what advice comes up from these particular oracle cards. So thank you, Spirit, for the insight and guidance. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you, guides and angels. Archangel Michael, we ask that you please protect our reading and come in and cut any energetic cords that are negative and are not meant to be a part of this reading for the viewer and for myself. Ashe. So the two cards that we're picking, okay, so we have these two goddesses coming up for you, and if you clicked on this read. So the first goddess is Medusa, the goddess, and she is indicated here with rage, the emotion of rage. So not sure if you're familiar with Medusa right off the bat. Medusa was a goddess. You hear about it more from Greek and Roman connotations with regard to a goddess that was banished because she had hair made of snakes. and her hair could turn you to stone if you looked any of the snakes in the eyes or looked her in her eyes. You could be turned into stone, and basically that's it for you, dead. I mean, there are other myths that kind of counteract that talk about breaking the curse, but Medusa had the power to basically immobilize you and keep you from moving forward, and basically a death. Okay. The second goddess card that comes up is Gang Sarah, and she is the card of resistance. Now, looking at the artwork, I'm not familiar with this goddess, so we will both be learning about this goddess, but I just want to show you the card so you can see. Okay, these two goddesses are coming up for you. Okay, so rage and resistance, Gang Sarah, Medusa. Now, the timeliness of this has something to do with an injustice that you are experiencing. So a lot of times when we are not able to move forward, we are faced with a deep frustration. Sometimes we feel like we are making all the right moves, we are doing our best to move forward, and then we're stopped. And that can cause us to have anger come up. It can cause us to have this frustration that is just building and building and building, okay? And we may feel like the odds are not in our favor, that things are stacked up against us. And that also can just make you feel so frustrated that you could tune into the energy of rage, frustration. I'm thinking of the rock group Rage Against the Machine. You know, we're living in times now that are enraging. For example, you know, Roe versus Wade being overturned and the government feeling like they have a right to decide what a woman does with her body while not providing, you know, resources to compensate that. And at the end of the day, whether they provide resources or not, what a woman does with her body is not any concern of the government. It is not up to the government to decide that, because once they start crossing those lines, and they can begin to really cross other lines that they should not. Choice is something that is God-given. It is constitutional here in America. No one has a right to do that. So without me getting on my preaching bag, the advice for you, looking at the artwork on these cards and the message that I'm getting here, is to tune into your inner wisdom. You have some deep roots in your ancestral line, and your ancestors have messages for you that you need to tune into that will help you to balance out this frustration that is basically out of balance right now. Because, you know, it's one thing to have frustration, it's one thing to deal with anger and despondency, and it's another thing to let it take over your life and go out of balance to where you can't function, you're immobilized, and you are just basically, you know, cursing yourself and cursing your own journey because you are unwilling to go with the flow of things. Life has a certain flow to it, and it requires a certain amount of faith to flow along with that, and not, you know, just kind of be stubborn about the changes that either you need to make, or stubborn about, you know, doing what needs to be done and saying what needs to be said. And in those particular instances, it's better to tune into the ancestral guidance that we are given. You can spend time in nature, go outside and do some grounding, you know, walk in the grass, get connected to a tree, and things of that nature. Understanding that you are a powerful being, but our power works together. We are not separate. We are in this together. We are one, and separateness is actually an illusion. And so that there's a lesson that's meant for all of us, it's also a lesson meant for us as well, about our choices and about the sanctity of life, and just knowing, that everything has a time and a season. And unfortunately, the way the world is set up, because we are all connected, some lessons are meant to be learned as a group, as a collective. And some of those lessons are hard lessons, and there are a lot of tears and there are a lot of pain. There's a lot of heartbreak that goes along with those lessons, and we're all affected by it. And until we, come to a collective consciousness together about it, that strife and that, that resistance is going to remain. But it is also a reminder for you to stay rooted in your convictions too. Because like I said, you have the ancestral wisdom, you have that knowledge that comes up from your ancestors. You want to stay rooted in what you know to be right. Stay rooted in who you are as a person and staying authentic to yourself, but not losing faith in the fact that we will come out of this season enlightened. Staying positive and claiming the fact that you will come out of whatever this is with a calmer head and a clearer mind, and you can dig deeper into knowing what the purpose is for all of this, learning the lessons from what's happening, so that you can move forward with wisdom. Because that's the stages of every situation. You have the beginning stage where you're kind of confused and lost and not sure what's going on. Then you have the stage where you begin to understand what's going on and you're giving birth to understanding. You are fertile with your understanding. You're able to create some strategies, create some ideas, and then you have the wisdom that you've gained through the whole experience to kind of finalize that, the whole lesson of all of this. And knowing that, being able to step back and know all of that, is a form of wisdom to kind of temper the frustration that you're dealing with. So let's look at the book now and see what guidance Abiola is giving for these two goddesses. And we can also learn a little bit more about these goddesses. We know Medusa in terms of the Greco-Roman interpretation of her as a goddess, but let's look at her real roots. Also for you, the number 22, 23, or 5 and 4 will factor into your numerology. So you may see those numbers a lot. You may also be an earth sign or a water sign. So, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, or Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Those could play prominently into your chart as well to, further connect this reading to you. So let's see what Abiola Abrams is saying here about these two shadow aspects that are playing out in your subconscious right now. So digging into the book, we're going to see what Abiola Abrams has to say. But also, I just want to remind you that you are a warrior. You are a warrior. So keep your shield of faith, your shield of authenticity, and your shield of conviction up, because you are a warrior. You about that. You know what I mean? You're not somebody that is not true of your convictions. And it's just keeping that being true of your convictions part in balance, not letting it go to one extreme where you don't have compassion or understanding, or to the extreme where you can't see the bigger picture. Because you got to remember, the bigger picture is eternity. We are eternal souls. We are eternal. Our spirits and who we truly are is an eternal being. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So that is not to be forgotten. And that is something that I'm called to bring to your remembrance, because it's easy to get wrapped up in just this world that we live in. It's easy to just get wrapped up in, our 5 senses. But we have to remember our 6th and our 7th and our 8th senses, and all the other vibrations that we also embody as divine beings. You are a divine warrior. You are a fierce warrior, no doubt. No doubt you are not someone to be messed with, okay? Looking at these two cards, this is your reading, you are no joke, okay? But you want to temper that with understanding and balance that out, again, with compassion. Balance it out by having a higher perspective. Let the God of you give you perspective so that you can remember that you are a divine being. And divine being, just like Kali, the goddess Kali. This reminds me of the goddess Kali. The goddess Kali really is a divine goddess. When we talk about divine feminine, a divine feminine throughout history is a destructive feminine. She both creates and destroys. Okay, so you have the power to destroy. You have that ability to destroy. Okay, Kali is no joke. Okay. And having that goddess Kali come into my mind as I look at Gangang Sara may be connected to your reading as well. But you have to find a balance between that destruction and creation, the balance between the yin and the yang energy. Okay, so let's dig into the book, like I said, and see what the book has to say about these two goddesses. Let's see the true origin. So we're going to start with Gangang Sara. This is a new goddess for me, and maybe it's for you as well, since this is your reading and this is the goddess that's coming up with advice for you. Let's see what Gangang Sara, who she is, where she comes from, and what her advice is for you, according to Abiola Abrams. So she says, this is a shadow goddess. She's from the Temple of the Shadows. Her element is bush. So again, your earth sign, your earthiness, okay? Shadow goddess Gangang Sara is the witch of Golden Lane. She blew in Tobago on a determined breeze from West Africa to emancipate her family, to free her family. Okay, so she represents the goddess who was about freedom. Okay, so freedom is important to you. Freedom is important to Gangang Sara. So when she is showing up in your reading, like I said before, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling trapped, you're feeling all the limitations, the limits that make you not feel free. But remember, you are free. So let's see what the book says. It says, you're scared that you're going to mess it all up. You may have stumbled, but this is a new day. Learn to show up for yourself. So according to the book, the advice from Gangang Sara is learn to show up for yourself and not be too hard on yourself. Know that this is a new day. So maybe you are ruminating on failures that you've made. Maybe you're worried that you're going to mess up because you messed up in the past, and you're focusing on that. But again, like I just said before, focus on your power. You are a badass, okay? You have divine power within you. The embodiment, according to the book, says that you ghost your own dreams and resist your own magic. Stop holding back, worrying and pretending to seek perfection that will never come. When it comes to you stepping into your greatness, resistance keeps you stuck. So the resistance is coming from you. Resistance blocks growth, creativity, and evolution. Resistance may look like procrastination, laziness, disorganization, excuses, or lack of motivation, but there are deeper forces at play. You are resisting the force that you really are. The goddess declaration, or the affirmation for you, and you may want to write this down, is, this is me. I show up. I watched a podcast last week that said, one of the life coaches said that what he does with his trainees is he'll tell them the first 3 days of training, I think it was the first 5 days of training, to go to the gym and don't stay longer than 5 minutes. He said, and he said, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but don't stay longer than 5 minutes, because what he's teaching them to do is to show up. It's not always about being the best and being perfect. A lot of times it's just showing up. Okay, it's just being consistent, because the consistency builds a habit. Okay, so again, if you're feeling frustration, even frustration with yourself or with other people, sometimes when you feel frustration with other people out there, it's your own frustration with your own self. And you are the only person that you can truly change. Okay, you are powerful. Don't resist yourself. Don't resist making the changes and doing what you need to do. Just say, again, affirm, this is me. I show up. Okay? That's your affirmation. That is what you're affirming about yourself and for yourself. You show up. Resist the urge to be lazy, disorganized, procrastinate. Procrastination, I can relate. Okay, Ashe. I will procrastinate a lot of times because I'm an overthinker. I overanalyze. I get immobilized with the fear of making the wrong choice. And again, it's a fear. But since I know the root of it, then I can conquer that thought and overcome that thought within myself to show up. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm going to meet it head on. I'd rather mess up and make mistakes than not do it, because it's better to make mistakes on your road to greatness. You know what I mean? It's like they said, you can never fail if you never stop trying. Okay? Ashe. So let's go look at the next goddess, Medusa. She is from, Gang Gang Sarah is from Tobago. Okay? So we know Trinidad and Tobago. That's the Caribbean. And this is me, I show up. And again, I'm affiliating her with Kali because it's interesting that the artist felt inspired to make her look Kali. She even has that indigo color. So, do a crown chakra meditation is what I'm also going to advise you to do. Do a crown chakra meditation. There's a ton of them on YouTube. I have a workshop that I'm working on my website. I'm going to do a plug at the end, www.universallifeandhope.com. I have a wonderful chakra balancing workshop that you may want to sign up for as well. So let's move along to Medusa and let's see the origin here. So again, these are shadow goddesses. These are goddesses that are working with your subconscious, that you may not even be aware of what's subconsciously going on with you. Okay. She is from Libya and her element is fire. So again, you may be a fire sign. So you have fire, earth, and water. You could be Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. And again, I'm seeing water. So, check your chart. You can always check your chart online. I love cafeastrology.com. FYI, another plug. Big ups to them. All right. So Medusa is feared as an ugly, vicious monster bitch. The truth? This Libyan Berber dark goddess of wisdom's rage is sacred, epic, and fully justified. Ashe. So like I said earlier, the divine feminine is not just this docile, passive. No, historically, the divine feminine, the true goddess of the god, is to be feared and reverenced because she is able to not only create the world, but destroy the world and worlds. Okay, Ashe. The guidance, according to Abiola Abrams and her wonderful oracle deck, is you are pissed off and petrified, angry and shaking, but underneath that you are hurt and heartbroken. Feeling undervalued is overwhelming. You can't stay silent anymore. Let your joys, hopes, and beauty rage on. So the advice she gives is to take a breath, close your eyes, and put both hands over your lower abdomen. Tune into the part of you that feels out of control. Flood it with loving, healing, golden light. Now put both hands over your heart and do the same. You have the right to your full range of emotions, including anger, okay? Sacred rage inspires us to run for office, lead protests, and shift policies. But unhealthy rage can devour your very soul. Get clear on what is really happening, what is really frustrating you and enraging you. Allow yourself to feel your feelings to see the truth. Just because you feel threatened does not mean that you are being threatened. Ashe. So the affirmation, again, if you want to write this down, is I have a right to feel my feelings. So those are your two cards. This is me, I show up, is the first affirmation, and I have a right to feel my feelings. Sometimes our own anger can scare our own selves. But I like how she put in the book here is that it says that, are you really, just because you feel threatened doesn't mean that you are being threatened. So again, that's fear. So sometimes our fears can be rightful. Like, we're rightfully fearful, for example, of the Roe versus Wade overturn. We're rightfully fearful that because they are making certain types of abortions illegal, that it's just going to spiral. You know, a lot of our fears are founded on fact, right? And this is what causes us to fight policy. This is what causes us to, you know, protest and use our power and our wisdom and our strength towards changing the world, right? But we also have to allow for the fact that everything happens for a reason. There is something to be learned from all of this that we are not aware of yet. So again, back to my earlier message that I'm feeling inspired to share is that, again, we are here as divine beings having a spiritual experience, okay? Having a physical experience. We are spiritual divine beings having a physical, three-dimensional experience. Three-dimensional energy is dense. It is heavy. It is not the etherical realm that our spirits are used to. So we are all still learning in this realm, okay? And we cannot lose sight of that as we are fighting forward. And we also we also want to temper our rage with compassion and love. Because again, like she said in the book, and like I said earlier, when we don't get a healthy outlet, when we don't have a healthy perspective, it can eat us up from the inside and throw I call it our chakra system, but it is our soul system. Our soul system, it can throw us out of balance and really throw us from the destiny that we're meant to have on this journey of life. And that's the whole point. The point is that we are here for a purpose, and we want to make sure that we are walking with balance and with integrity, not walking off balance, not running too fast, not, you know, killing ourselves basically, but doing things in a way that we represent the divine that lives within us. Ashe. So again, if I have just posted on my website today my workshop, I have a wonderful workshop that is about nutrition, not just for your physical body. Okay, your physical body will change. That is also part of our 3D incarnation here, our journey of life here on earth. Okay, but your spirit and your soul is forever. And what we eat does affect our soul while we're here. It affects our experience while we're here, our spirits. And we want to stay in balance so that we can walk purposefully and be a good portion to represent our part in the collective. Okay, be a positive part of the collective. And so I have a wonderful workshop that I put together that is all about bringing all of your chakras into balance nutritionally, with affirmations and crystals, and just having a little bit more understanding of what each chakra represents and how they represent spiritually as well as physically. So it's a great workshop. Check out that and other items I have on my website, www.universallifeandhope.com. I know it's a long name, but it's worth it to type it in. You could also check me out on Instagram at ULHC_oneness. Okay, that is the handle. ULHC stands for Universal Life and Hope. Details will be in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope you are enjoying my content. I have all kinds of wonderful things on here. I am claircognizant. I am clairsentient. I am clairvoyant. I am an empath. I am a medium. I'm a prophet. I'm a minister. I'm an astrology nerd, an occult nerd, a Halloween nerd. So you'll see all kinds of things on the channel. Be my best friend. Hit the bell notification so that we can stay in touch. You can hit me up on social media. Again, I'm also on Instagram. My other Instagram page is at Kismet Destiny Hope, all one handle. It's basically the same contact, but I do keep both pages, but you can message me on either one. I'm also a Reiki practitioner. If you don't want to do the workshop and you want to book a distance healing session, Reiki is not limited by you being physically here with me, because again, we are spiritual beings. We exist in our higher selves as a part of the matrix, the actual grid. We are spiritual beings. So I can help to heal and bring into balance those chakras that are causing all kinds of issues that could be affecting your shadow, your unconscious, your purpose, your journey, your manifestations, a lot of different things. It is not for me to instill fear. It is for me to offer love, healing, and hope. Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. Hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I'm going to put all the details in the description box below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, wishing you love, wishing you growth and healing. Ashe.